Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Unfortunately, I'm not in today or for the rest of the week, but I'm going to make some videos so that you guys can still do the work. All right, so we are up to now factorizing equations or expressions when they look, when they're in a form that looks like this. So ax squared plus bx plus c. Before we go into that, though, I want to go over a couple of little definitions that I feel like we've done before, but just a bit of a recap. So if I say variable or you read the word variable, that is a symbol that represents a value that we don't know yet. So for example, the a here would be a variable, that just like the a here, the x squared here would be a variable and the y would be a variable. A constant is a fixed value. So this plus 2 that's here and here, that would be a constant. And this value here is also a constant. And a coefficient is a number used to multiply a variable. So your coefficient is the one that sits in front of a variable. So 3 here, 5 here, and 8 here, they're all coefficients. And a trinomial is an algebraic expression that has 3 terms. So this is one term, this is 2 terms, and that is your third term. So this would be a trinomial expression. Again, this is a term here, so you can see that this 3a here is a term and this constant of just 2. It's like each section. And then the only difference between an equation and an expression, so this part here would be an expression. Anything that has an equal sign is an equation. So that's just a little bit of terminology recap. Now we're going to get into quadratic trinomials. So a quadratic trinomial is an algebraic expression that's in this form here. So ax squared plus bx plus c. X is your variable, so x is our unknown value that we don't know yet. And a, b, and c are constants. So a, b, and c. So what that means is they will have some sort of value when we look at our examples. So a might be 1, b could be 7, and c could be 14, something like that. And a, in this rule, a cannot be equal to 0. So to start with this, we are only going to look at factorizing trinomials where our a value is going to be 1. So for this video and the questions that you're about to do, a will always be 1. B and c will change though. Okay, so let's have a look at this example here. So I always like to go the expansion way first and then we'll go back into factorizing. So we've got x plus 2, x plus 5, and if we were to expand it using FOIL, so we'd get x times by x, which would give us x squared, x times by 5, which would give 5x, 2 times by x, which would give 2x, and then 2 times by 5, which I've got here. So we all know how to do FOIL. That's the answer that we would get. Then I would have my x squared still. The 5x and the 2x are like terms, so we would add them together. And then I've still got my 2 times 5. Now I have left it as 2 times 5 for a reason, but obviously that would make 10. So here we've got x squared plus the sum of 2 and 5. So remember the sum means to add together, and plus the product of 2 and 5, and product means to multiply. So I would get x squared plus 7x because the sum of 2 and 5 is 7, plus 10 because the product of 2 and 5 is 10. So when we want to factorize, so say we had this expression now, x squared plus 7x plus 10, and we want to factorize it, we need to find 2 numbers that would give us the sum of 7, so 2 numbers that would add together to give 7, and the same 2 numbers that would give us a product of 10. So the same 2 numbers that when you multiply them together, they would be 10. The 2 numbers would be 2 and 5, because 2 plus 5 is 7, 2 multiplied by 5 is 10. So it ticks both of that criteria, the sum of criteria and the product. So if we had this expression here and we wanted to factorize it, we would end up with x plus 2, x plus 5. So I'm going to try and explain the rule to you now. So in general, if you have something that looks like x squared plus bx plus c, you'll end up with a form that looks like this: x plus p, x plus q, where when you add p and q, so when you add this value and this value, they would give you the sum. Those two added together would give you the value of b. And when you multiply p and q, the product of those two numbers would give you the value of c. I feel like the best way I can explain this to you is to do a couple of examples. So I'm going to do that now. So if I have this example here, x squared plus 5x plus 4. So the first thing I need to do is identify my b and c values. I haven't worried about identifying my a value because remember I said that a is always going to be 1. So my b value would match up with 5 and my c value would match up with 4. As you can see, it would fit in with this rule up here. Then I need to do, this is probably the hardest part. This is where I need to find my two numbers that add to make 5 and the same two numbers that when I multiply them will make 4. So I like to make a little table. So I make a little table like this. So I know that my sum has to be 5 and my product has to be 4. And I find it's easier to go through all my factors first. So I'm going to think of all my factors of 4. So the way I can do that is I can do 2 times 2 to get 4 and 1 times 4 to get 4. Now, if I was to use the sum now with these two numbers, this is what I would get. So here 2 plus 2 equals 4. So that would not fit my criteria because I need my sum to add up to 5. However, here when I do 1 plus 4, I get 5 as an answer. So that means these values, my 1 and 4, fit my criteria because 1 plus 4 equals 5, which is what I need up here, and 1 times 4 equals 4, which is what I need here. So this step, I feel like step 2 is the most challenging part. I find setting it out as a table, going through all your possible times tables for your product is the easiest way to go through it first. Then all I have to do, so really what I'm saying is that my p value would be 1, my q value would be 4, and then I'm going to substitute that back into this general rule here. So it would look like x plus 1, x plus 4, and that would be factorized. I'm going to do one more example, and then I have some questions for you guys to do for your 2 lessons today. Okay, so again, we've got our general rule up here. We're going to factorize x squared plus 15x plus 44. So again, we want to identify our b and c values. B is going to be equal to 15 and our c value is 44. Then we're going to do the most challenging step, which is finding two numbers that add to make 15 and multiply to make 44. So I'm going to get my little table up. So I've got to think of all the different ways that I can make 44 using multiplication. So these are the 3 ways that I came up with: 1 times by 44, 2 times by 22, and 11 times by 4. All 3 of those equal 44. So at the moment, all 3 of those tick this first criteria. Now we need to check the sum criteria. So we need to work out, does 1 plus 44 equal 15? Well, we know that it won't. Does 2 plus 22 equal 15? That won't either, but 11 plus 4 will. So if I show you my working out on this side, you can see this one does not fit, this one does not fit. However, 11 plus 4 does fit our criteria. So that means that my p value will be 11, my q value will be 4. If you had them around the other way, so if you had p equals 4 and q equals 11, that doesn't matter. As long as you've allocated one of your values as p and one as q, that's fine. And then we're going to substitute it into our rule up here. So it's going to look like x plus 11, x plus 4. And it's that easy. So I would like you guys for this double lesson, you have 2 lessons today, to complete all the questions from question 1 to question 5. If you get stuck on anything, please email me the exact question and I can send you back some worked solutions. And I would also like you to email me and let me know how far you got at the end of the day. Good luck. Bye.